There's a good chance your dog licked you today. Maybe it was your hand while you were relaxing on the couch, maybe your face when you came home, or maybe just a quick lick as you reach down to pet them. Most of us smile and think exactly the same thing. They're giving me kisses. And sometimes that's true. But what if we've been trying to translate one of the most common dog behaviors with only a single meaning? Because the truth is far more interesting. Dogs don't lick people for just one reason. The very same behavior can express affection, curiosity, comfort, excitement, stress, or even something your dog simply can't communicate any other way. The meaning changes with the moment. And once you begin noticing that, you'll never look at your dog's licking the same way again. By the end of this video, you'll understand why what looks like a simple lick may actually be part of one of the oldest and most fascinating forms of communication dogs have ever known. Long before your dog ever learned your voice, long before they knew your name, long before they understood where home was, they were already learning through touch. For a newborn puppy, licking is one of the very first experiences of life. A mother gently licks her puppies from the moment they are born. It helps stimulate their bodies, keeps them clean, and is an essential part of caring for them during the first days of life. Researchers studying maternal behavior in dogs have found that licking and grooming are among the earliest forms of interaction between a mother and her puppies. At that stage, puppies cannot see. They cannot hear clearly. They experience the world almost entirely through touch, warmth, scent, and their mother's care. Licking is part of that world from the very beginning. And that's what makes this behavior so fascinating. It didn't begin as a way of saying, I love you. It began as part of care, comfort, connection, and survival. As dogs grow older, the behavior doesn't disappear. It simply takes on new meanings. The same action that once belonged to a mother's care can later become part of a greeting, a quiet moment together, a way of gathering information, or something else entirely. Which means the real question isn't, why does my dog lick me? It's, what is my dog trying to communicate right now? So, does your dog lick you because they love you? Sometimes? Yes. If you've been away for several hours and your dog greets you with a wagging tail, a relaxed body, and a few gentle licks, those licks are often part of a warm reunion. The same thing can happen during quiet moments at home. Your dog curls up beside you, rests their head on your lap, looks completely relaxed, and gently licks your hand before settling down again. There's no urgency, no tension, no obvious need for anything, just two companions enjoying each other's company. In moments like these, a gentle lick may simply be one more way your dog stays close to someone they trust. But here's something important to remember. Just because licking can express affection doesn't mean affection is the only reason dogs do it. Sometimes the very same lick has a completely different purpose. One of the most overlooked reasons dogs lick us has nothing to do with affection at all. It's curiosity. Your dog experiences the world through their nose, but sometimes scent alone isn't enough. A quick lick can give them even more information about where you've been and what you've come into contact with. That's why many dogs lick your hands after you've been outside, your face when you come home, or even your legs after a walk. To us, nothing seems different. To your dog, you're carrying an entirely new collection of scents: other people, other animals, fresh grass, food, countless tiny chemical traces that are completely invisible to us. A lick isn't always a way of saying, I love you. Sometimes it's your dog's version of asking, where have you been? Or tell me more about what I'm smelling. The interesting part is that your dog isn't simply reacting to your appearance. They're gathering information about your day. And that makes licking less like a kiss and more like a conversation. But not every lick is about communication. Sometimes it's about emotion. Have you ever noticed your dog licking more after something exciting? Maybe friends came over, you just returned from a long walk, a lively game ended, or everyone in the house finally settled down after a busy evening. For some dogs, those are the moments when licking becomes more frequent. They may lick your hand, their blanket, or even themselves, not because they're trying to send you a message, but because repetitive behaviors can help some dogs settle as their emotions begin to slow down. Think about how some people tap a pencil, twist a ring, or take a deep breath after a stressful day. Dogs have their own ways of transitioning from excitement back to calm. Licking can be one of them. That doesn't mean every lick is caused by stress, far from it. But when licking appears after emotionally intense moments, it may be less about communicating with you and more about helping themselves find balance again. One of the most fascinating things about licking is that dogs didn't invent this behavior for humans. It existed long before we became part of their lives. Across many social mammals, gentle grooming plays an important role in maintaining close social relationships, not because someone is dirty, not because something is wrong, but because quiet, repeated physical contact helps strengthen familiar bonds over time. Many of those ancient social patterns are still part of canine behavior today. So when your dog quietly licks your hand while you're sitting together or gives you a few gentle licks before lying down beside you, they may not be asking for food, they may not be seeking attention, and they may not even be trying to communicate a specific message. Um, Sometimes they're simply engaging in one of the oldest forms of social behavior found across many mammals. The behavior itself isn't the goal, the relationship is. Perhaps that's why these quiet licks often happen when nothing else is going on. No excitement, no stress, no obvious reason, just two companions sharing the same space. And sometimes that's reason enough. Sometimes your dog isn't making a statement, they're making a request. A quick lick can be one of the simplest ways a dog gets your attention. Over time, many dogs discover something interesting. Licking often gets a response. You look at them, you speak to them, you pet them, you smile, and because it works, the behavior naturally becomes part of their communication. But the request isn't always the same. One day it may mean, I'd like you to notice me. Another day it could be, is it time for our walk? Or perhaps, can we spend a moment together? The important part is that dogs rarely communicate with just one signal. A dog asking for attention may also be watching your face, standing close to you, wagging gently, or glancing toward the door or an empty food bowl. The lick is only one piece of a much larger conversation. And once you begin looking for the entire pattern instead of a single behavior, your dog's message becomes much easier to understand. By now, you've probably noticed something surprising. The licking itself wasn't the answer. The context was. The same gentle lick can mean completely different things depending on what happened just before it. A dog who has just welcomed you home isn't communicating in the same way as a dog who has become overwhelmed during play. A dog resting quietly beside you isn't sending the same message as one who's eagerly waiting for dinner. The behavior may look identical, but the meaning can be completely different. That's why experienced behaviorists rarely focus on one action in isolation. Instead, they watch the entire picture: your dog's posture, their eyes, their ears, their tail, their movement, and perhaps most importantly, what happened in the moments leading up to that first lick. The more pieces you put together, the clearer the message becomes. Because dogs don't communicate in single words, they communicate through patterns. And once you begin seeing those patterns, you stop asking, what does licking mean? Instead, you begin asking a much better question: what is my dog trying to tell me right now? So the next time your dog licks you, don't rush to translate it. Pause for a moment instead. Ask yourself a few simple questions. What was happening just before it? What does your dog's body look like? Are they relaxed, excited, curious, or asking for your attention? Then look at what happens immediately afterward. Do they settle down beside you, walk toward the door, keep watching your face, or return to whatever they were doing? Those small details often reveal far more than the lick itself ever could. The more you observe the whole moment, the more predictable your dog's communication becomes, and something remarkable starts to happen. Behaviors that once seemed random begin to make perfect sense, not because you've memorized a list of meanings, but because you've learned to read your dog instead of translating a single action. Maybe the biggest lesson your dog has been trying to teach you has never been about licking at all. It's about the way dogs communicate. We often look for simple answers: one behavior, one meaning, one perfect translation. But dogs don't communicate that way. The same lick can mean different things on different days, and even different things just a few hours apart. Sometimes it's affection, sometimes curiosity, sometimes it's a way of settling down, sometimes it's a quiet social ritual, and sometimes It's simply your dog asking you to notice them. The behavior may stay exactly the same, only the moment changes. Perhaps that's why understanding a dog isn't about memorizing what every behavior means. It's about learning to notice the story surrounding that behavior, the moment before it, the body language that comes with it, the situation your dog is experiencing. Because once you stop searching for one universal answer and start seeing the whole picture, something remarkable happens. Your dog begins to feel much less mysterious and much more understandable. Maybe that has been their real message all along. Not please translate every lick, but simply take a moment to understand the world the way I experience it.